to Superman or Hercules, but writer and director S.S. Rajamouli, the man behind RRR, puts his own original spin on the story. His distinct filmmaking style can be seen all over these movies. Bahubali: The Beginning was, at the time, the most expensive Indian film ever made. It was made on a budget equivalent to 28 million US dollars and made over 100 million at the box office. Thanks in part to a massive cliffhanger, the conclusion did even better, having a budget equivalent to 37 million US dollars and making back over 280 million. These movies had a massive cultural impact in India. Actor Rana Daggubati, who played the villainous Balaladeva, likened it to what Star Wars did for the Western world. While Star Wars products are a dime a dozen now, the original trilogy was a cultural phenomenon in the Western world during the 1970s and 80s. The original movie sold over 178 million tickets, and with its special effects, world building, and its grand scale, it changed the way blockbuster movies were made in Hollywood. As for Bahubali, it's a Telugu film series that broke boundaries nationally, but also broke international boundaries by being made into comics and being noticed in the West. The second movie alone sold over 100 million tickets, and the cliffhanger at the end of Part 1 shocked the people of India just as much as Darth Vader's reveal shocked Americans back in 1980. For over a year, fans of the movie would discuss and speculate, why did Kattappa kill Bahubali's father? This was the series that really allowed S.S. Rajamouli to flex his creative muscles from a visual and storytelling perspective. It gave many Indian moviegoers something new and paved the way for more Indian films like RRR to become well known in the Western world. As an American, RRR was my introduction to Indian cinema, but I would have never heard of it had it not been for the solid foundation Rajamouli built with his Bahubali films. Overall, I got a lot of enjoyment out of these movies, and there's a number of great things to say about them. I do have some critiques as well, but I'll get to those later. Let's start with the first movie. Bahubali: The Beginning starts with a woman named Sivagami sacrificing her life to protect an infant child who would grow up to be a king. He grows up in a humble village, but is fascinated by the mountain near his home and is obsessed with trying to climb it. He possesses superhuman strength and believes he has a greater purpose, but doesn't know why. Much of S.S. Rajamouli's inspiration came from Mahabharata. But as I mentioned earlier, this is where you can also draw comparisons to Superman and Hercules. Our hero eventually finds a mask that came from atop the mountain. He realizes that it came from a woman and is motivated to climb the mountain and find her. He has a vision of her singing and beckoning, which gives him the strength to make the climb. This is a very mesmerizing sequence, and one where the visual effects shine the most, in my opinion. Everything about the scene looks absolutely beautiful. The visual effects are on full display here, and it's impressive to think that all of this came from a budget equal to 28 million US dollars, especially when you consider that a lot of Hollywood blockbusters these days have budgets that surpass over 200 million US dollars. Admittedly, there are times throughout this series where the visual effects and green screens don't hold up too well, but many other times where they do. I have to admire S.S. Rajamouli's ambition. He had a clear and unique vision for every setting, and with a budget that's roughly 10 times less than that of Hollywood's, he created worlds that are more memorable than what the MCU has been dishing out lately. Our hero reaches the top of the mountain and comes across a warrior named Avantika, played by Tamana. He then proceeds to secretly follow her around and draw tattoos on her hand while she sleeps. He's being kind of a stalker here, but moving on. Avantika discovers him following her and attacks him, and then he proceeds to evade her while gradually removing articles of her clothing without her consent. Maybe I'm missing something, but his behavior